You know, the thing is that most of what you hear about Africa, you know, some of them are actually just hearsay. It's just perception of people that some of them, they are too lazy to find out whether Africa is really good or bad. They must have heard from somebody saying that, look, Africa is not a good place to do business, it's tough. But things have actually changed, and we're the only continent that's really been growing at about 5% of GDP.
Entrepreneurship is a long-term journey. Stop seeing it as a short-term goal. Long-term journey. Great companies, great and accomplished entrepreneurs did not make it in 1 year. They didn't make it in 3 years. It's a long-term journey. So moving, dare to dream, implement your dream, and stay focused.
70% of the African people in 1994 had never heard a telephone ring. I didn't say I'd used one. I said they'd never heard it ring. That was a human need. I knew as a young engineer, not long since my college days, that we could change that. We had the technology to do it. The resources were out there. It was a human need.
I'm not one to take no for an answer, because I love to take challenges and, you know, go the extra mile and try to see to its logical conclusion. I decided to do a lot of homework. So I began to ask questions. I began to make calls. I began to send emails. I began to knock on doors. And in the end, after a long time, I was able to get technical partners. And those technical, with that, we were able to apply for an oil block.
We saw Africa as a wonderful market potential for us because the image of Africa is bad. Investors are afraid to go to Africa. That's why all those big telecom companies refrained from going to Africa. Licenses were going almost for free. But nobody wanted to do that because they're afraid of Africa. We know there are issues with Africa, but there is a huge gap between perception and reality. And whenever there's a big gap between perception and reality, there's a wonderful business opportunity. And that's how we made our fortune.
They're going to be a lot of obstacles you will face, and just treat every obstacle as a learning opportunity and never give up, really.
We like things like IT services. Technology is going to be extremely exciting. Manufacturing possesses a huge opportunity purely because we're lacking such basic raw materials, yet we have the raw materials locally. It's just a matter of kind of producing it, such as we're putting up a glass plant in Nigeria. That's a great example where we've got all the natural resources available locally, but no glass is produced locally.
Right.
Agriculture, you know, we've got the most naturally rain-fed arable land on the continent. In the world, and you know, we are truly a breadbasket for the world.
You have to close market. Business, it doesn't work well on its own. You have to close market from one state to the other. And of course, you pray to God, and I beg for God's blessings. And I think by God's grace, those potentials like Adenuga looking around the corners, I think they'll get there.
iRoko was my 11th company. My 11th company. And I was like, oh my God, this is the one. Mum, this is the big time. I had no money. I've actually never put a single penny of my money into iRoko because I never had any.